Hello and welcome to another Aurora series. Welcome back. It's been a while. And you're here with me now in Aurora 4X 4 stars. A new series that I'll be doing, which will be centering around a unique starting position that you guys will be able to follow along with. In that regard, if you go to the end of the video, I'll be doing a little piece about where you can download the save for this, as well as get further information on the setup. But we will be doing some introductions about what the plan is, what we're starting as, and obviously you'll learn more as the series continues. So, what is this series? We are starting in a TN start in a normal Aurora game, with the difference is that I've set up a quaternary star system with a starting TN fleet, starting TN forces. I've added minerals to places, and I have put in certain rules and ideas. These rules and these ways of playing, so to speak, are the following. Number one, each planet will have a specialization, and we will be focusing that specialization to coordinate together. So what do I mean by this? For an example, in this system, we have Ephes, which is our main research world, while Todomaya is our main headquarters, or Colt, which is our main ordnance and fighter factory production. So we're specializing worlds which you usually don't see in Aurora, and that is going to be something that will be required in the game. We're sitting at 1 billion population, as you can see, but it's spread out among 4 different stars. So let's go over each of them now. So, to start with, we have Seranus A. Seranus A contains multiple planets. We're going to start with the first one, this being Ephes. Ephes is one of the larger populated planets within the 4 stars, and it has a nitrogen oxygen atmosphere. It's a jungle world, and it's mainly a production hub, as I looked at, but also does contain some research facilities, which is its main purpose. We then have Todomaya, which is the 3rd planet. Todomaya is the naval base, a military headquarters, and as you may note, we have some sensor satellites, which are acting as a sensor network in formation around the planet here. So you can note that as well. So Todomaya has research facilities, but it also has maintenance facilities and military academies, and it has the only military academies in the entire system. Next, we have it's got a moon, Dern, with a small population. It has some minerals, and so there'll be some mine. It's basically a mining outpost. We then have Lephoria, another mining outpost with 10 million population, a steppe world, not fully habitable due to the oxygen levels and ammonia in the atmosphere. And finally, we have Colt, which is a moon off Lephoria, and that has a nitrogen oxygen atmosphere with 75 million people, being the ordnance factory, fire factory, but also contains some of the shipyards. Ephes also contains shipyards, which I forgot to mention, are commercial shipping. Colt contains our smaller naval shipyard, so things for corvettes, patrol vessels, and other kinds of shipping that we need for our military. We then have, as the 6th planet, oh no, the 5th planet in the system, my bad, we have a super Jovian, Rytera, and it has 2 large moons, Kusaro and Santari, and we don't yet know what resources are there. We only have survey of planets we habitate, so that'll be something we'll need to do when we go over our ships in a little bit. This episode will largely speaking be about setup and that idea, though you can skip forward. There should be chapters that you can do so. It also has Phonos, which is the 3rd large moon in it, and then we have Grindaros, which is a dwarf planet. We can see that in the system here, so Grindaros, Rytara, Todomia, Lephoria, Euphus, and then in the middle we have, or in the very center, we have Shavola, which is a Mercury type planet. with a few comments as well. So that is Seranus A. Fire ordnance construction, some naval shipyards, most of our commercial shipping, as well as quite a bit of production is located here. So a very important star. Then orbiting the first star, or Seranus A, we have Seranus B. Seranus B, located over here, has the following worlds. So we have Dragoon. Dragoon is a rich Mercury star planet, 1,500 degrees Celsius, with automated mines situated on it, about 150 of them. It has lots of resources, and it's the main feeder of the shipyards and the industry here, as we have Istrunus, Otia, Vulia, and Sevulia. So Istrunus is our main military hub for ground forces. It has 8 facilities, and it is guarded by a marine regiment. Othia is a small outpost. It could be colonized in the future. It doesn't have anything else, but it's got a small population of 2 million people. Vulia is 125 million people, and it's a little bit more significant. So if you go have a look at here, it's our main construction hub. So it's 275 construction factories, but it also has our main economy in our financial centers. So Vulia is very important. Sevulia, or the moon of Vulia, getting confusing with the names here, is our main fuel and also financial centers. So those are our economic and industrial powerhouses located on Vulia. So obviously very, very important in that regard. Now, God, I can't find it for a second. But yeah, Vulia is very, very important. And am I looking at the right one? No, this is Seranus C. Seranus B must be up here then. Yes, this is Seranus B. So we have Istrunus, we have Dragoon, we have Othia, and Vulia is also protected by that sensor network. We also have some naval fleets spread out across the system. And then finally, we have, if we go over here, so we had Othia, Vulia, Sevulia, we have Verone, which is a gas giant. Don't know what's there yet, with Sip and Zoilia as 2 large moons situated around Verone. So that is the outermost star. Then we'll go back to the one where I was originally talking about, which is Seranus C. Seranus C has 2 Venusian worlds, mountain Venusian atmosphere worlds at the center, which you can see here, Brandus and Branius. And then it has Varm, which is a subtropical nitrogen oxygen atmosphere, though similar to what we saw with Euphoria and with some of the other worlds. It's not fully habitable, and instead has a small population, about 5 million people with some infrastructure. It has 2 moons, a bit like Mars's moons, Deimos and Phobos. So Brechtia and Ibion. And then we have the main habitable world population in Seranus C, that being Tropiscan. Tropiscan is the main producer of the large vessels for the Alliance of United Stars, which is what we're playing as. In this regard, is a cruiser, which is our largest ship at 25,000 tons. Other than that, it's a small naval port as well, but holds no other major capabilities. Its primary focus is building large ships. We then have Varm. Varm is, which we talked about, is here. It's got nothing except some infrastructure. And that's pretty much it for Seranus C. We do have Bergvron, which is a Mars-style planet, or habitability Mercury. It's cold. Volarth, which is a gas giant. It's a small gas giant, as well as Atov, basically 2 small gas giants with a couple large moons. And then finally, orbiting Seranus C, very far out, we have Tyder. Now, Tyder is a gas giant, a large gas giant, orbiting essentially between all the stars. It has 3 moons, Holdal, Bastar, and Jolm. and it orbits every 300 years around Seranus Sea. So that is definitely something that could be interesting. And again, I don't know the minerals on most of these planets, except for a few that I've set up to ensure that we do have minerals, and that when new people play, that they'll have a chance to get along with that. That brings us to our final star, as we're now 10 minutes into the video already. So let's try and speed this up. We have Thodalia as the main planet here, and this will be in Seranus D. So we have Venupo and Verantino, which is two dwarf planets with some argon, sulfur dioxide atmospheres. They are somewhat habitable, but they are small and very hot. Then we have Trow, which is a gas giant with a few small moons, but then Hitara as a somewhat larger moon. We then have Thodalia, Dilmara, and Itara. Now, something interesting to note is that Dilmara and Thodalia are in the same orbit as Trow. So essentially, the space logic for this is they're in the Lagrange point of Trow, which is a gas giant, and because they are in a fixed orbit, so that we don't have Trow just knocking into Thodalia. They are stable in those orbits, even if they're in the same orbit. So Thodalia over here, Dilmara here, and then Trow. So this would be L5 and L4. Obviously, the game has its own Lagrange points, and all these star systems are connected by them. So let's go over what each planet is for in this particular star system. So we have Thodalia. Thodalia has the largest population, but most importantly, it's our main mineral producer. It has 600 mines, and it has a homeworld level of minerals that we'll be mining off for years to come. In conjunction with this, it has a small naval force, which is protecting it with maintenance facilities. So it's definitely a very important planet, and it's got a lot of room to grow. Then we have Dilmara. Dilmara is a shipyard manufacturer. It builds exploration cruisers and destroyers, which we'll see in a moment. And it also contains some research facilities. Only 40 million people there, though. We then have Itara, which is a Arctic world, tundra, which is orbiting at the very edge and is not in a fixed orbit. So that just goes around here. So those are the 4 stars, and that's the namesake for the series. Thank you for bearing with me as we went through that. So as you can see, each world has its specialization, what its plans are, and what we're trying to aim to build it up for. As you've noted, we don't have survey of all the planets in the system, and furthermore, we don't have stations, and we are going to need to build up. Something that's a big part of this series is that we are also playing on 20% research speed, 20% survey, and 50% terraforming. Because this feels quite an OP start, as some may think. We do have those negatives. We are starting at a low tech. So let's have a look at our ships so far. So go into our naval organization, and we're going to start from the top here. So we have the first Alliance fleet, which is built up of multiple divisions and a squadron. The first Alliance squadron is orbiting Ephesus. This contains with it a cruiser, the Seranus. These are missile cruisers. So they have 96 box launchers, which are kind of like, if you're familiar with modern naval ships, your vertical launch system. They have a small railgun as well as some point defense railguns. Again, nuclear pulse engines. So we're on the lower end of tech, but this is our flagship. These are things that will lead vessels into battle. A little mistake there that I've got to fix, which I will do. These should not be here. So let me just delete them. And then we have a frigate division, which is escorting. They have hangar deck capacity. They have mainly point defense guns, and their primary purpose is escort. And so we have the Albatross, Bat, and Blackbird. They have their recon fighters there. We then have the first cruiser division orbiting Trospiskan, which is our primary builder of our cruisers. And we have the Ephesus, so the Seranus class cruiser orbiting. We then have our destroyers. We have a guided missile destroyer, the Rhea, which has guided missiles, and then the 2 normal destroyers, which are focused on PD, so 6 railguns compared to 16. But the difference is that these guys only have 16 modular launch systems instead of 48. So they're positioned over on Thodalia. We then have the 2nd Frigate Division, which is the Blue Jay and the Buzzard. And those guys are situated over at Vulia, and they're just standard frigates as well. We then have very standard colony and freighter ships, 50,000 tons or 40,000 tons-ish. Pretty normal. Not going to talk too much about them. We have 5 of each. We then have a jump tender for our commercial ships as well as our military ships. We have 3 tankers with 10 million liters of fuel each, 2 troop transports, and that's our main commercial fleet. In reserve, we have some fighters. We then have the shipyard fleets for all of our shipyards with various amounts. And then we have sensor grids. These are, as you saw, built up around naval bases, and they provide a little bit of early warning if we ever need it. I doubt we will. We then have some patrol squadrons. We have corvettes, which have railguns, and they go 5,000 kilometers per second, so they're fast, but short range. And then we have patrol crafts, which have modular launch systems, fast attack crafts that are short range and defend wherever they are. So Trapiscan, the Dahlia, Colt, Brulia, and Ephes. We then finally have 2 exploration divisions, the El Junde and the Delling. And those are situated over on Thodalia, and they are pretty large ships with some CUS, with active sensors, electromagnetic sensors, with survey points, and about a 5-year deployment time. So, with that all said out of the way, I'm sorry for the long introduction. I usually like to keep it short, but we need to kind of go over everything. And again, just before we actually start getting some gameplay, start looking at our research, start looking at other things we can do. To remind everyone, there will be links in the description for how to download this save, what you need to know before you start playing, and if you want to play along, you can do so, as I will be posting this full scenario, and you can do whatever you want with it. So, let us start then. The first thing that I'm going to do is get our exploration divisions, and we're going to have them start to survey. That is going to be something that's very important for me. So we're going to just set them up how you would normally set things up. So survey near a server location, deployment exceeded, or fuel less than 40%, refuel a colony, and all that good stuff. So they're set up, and that's good to know. We are going to go through each planet specifically. I'm going to get governors assigned to them. So let's go automated assignment for you. Let's go automated assignment for you. Why can I not assign you? That's weird. I cannot. Maybe it's auto assigning. So research wise, I'm playing this as well with 50% research restriction. So what do I mean by this? We can't use more than 50% of the labs we have on the planet for a single project. The aim for this is to reduce beelining and make things a little bit more impactful. So I'm going to start research on capacitor recharge rate 3. And I'm going to put 5 labs into that. We might need more. Yeah, we're gonna modify that to 10, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. That's gonna take a bit of time. That'll take 7 years or 6 years. Then I'm gonna put the rest into getting us maximum I'm gonna put 5 into maximum recharge rate. There we go. So that works for us. Though that'll take a while. But it's good to get it started already. And then I'm going to get some construction and production. Primarily, I want to get into research rate. So we're going to get into research for that. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention our ground forces. Pretty basic. Some logistics battalions, which are just logistics vehicles. We then have infantry regiments, which are personal weapons, cap or crude anti-personnel, and then light anti-tank. and those are in 10,000 ton battalions. And then we have infantry regimental HQ, which have enough supply for 30 days. And then the only special thing we have, I mean, it's a very basic ground force, is Marines. These guys have improved personal weapons, powered infantry armor, and they're situated on Todemia, which is supposedly our naval headquarters. So they are ready for deployment whenever we need them. So yeah, let's go back, and we got the research on the way there. Industry-wise, we got no industry on the planet. We do have shipyards though. What do I want to build here? More tankers, colony ships, troop transports. I'm gonna get another troop transport on the way. So we'll do one troop transport, and I'm gonna go for one more tanker, a couple more tankers, as we'll need them. We then have Colt, which has construction factories, ordnance factories, fighter factories, and maintenance factories. We have a small stockpile on the planet, though we're going to need to move more resources over to actually use our construction factories. So we can't overspend, but I'm going to start construction on some additional construction here. And by additional construction, I'm thinking, let's have a look here. We do have some mining, right? Yeah, we have some mining over here, which we'll need to start transporting over to Demir and Colt. And then we also have mining here. I like this mining on Derm. I want to grow Derm. I think that's a good idea. So I'm gonna get some construction on the way. Again, all the details for the rules and all that stuff will be in. You can find that in the description under a thread I'll do, and you guys can go over that. So let's go for my infrastructure, because we're gonna need it. So I'm gonna go for 1,000 infrastructure. I'm gonna go for 25%. So that'll be how long will that take? Production capacity amount. Yeah, that's 2,000. So that'll take quite a bit. So we're gonna modify that to 50%. That'll take a couple years. Then I want to start continually building, let's start 25 construction factories at the other 50%. Yeah, there we go. So just get some more construction factories on deck. Todemaya, you've got some research. I'm going to put you into, do we want to do ground combat? It's a lot of research. Let's go logistics. Let's go ship-to-ship tractor beam, because that's going to be important for stations, because we can't build stations until we have that. Leforia, you've got your mines. We'll have to start moving resources from you, as well as Dern. So that's going to be a job for our freighters. So let's go over to our freighters. We got the 3rd Freighter Division currently orbiting Trospiskin. Now, Trospiskin, as we looked at earlier, is located in the middle, and Ephes is located over here. So the 1st Freighter Division is over Ephes. So I'm going to detach the Koln, and I'm going to rename you to the 4th of Mineral Transport Division. Well, actually, we'll do the 1st. And I'm going to have you begin loading from Dern and, Dern and Leforia. So load all minerals until full. Load all minerals until full. And then return to Ephes. No, we don't want to actually return to Ephes. We want to return to, we want to return not to Todemaya, to Colt. Though, keep in mind that we have maintenance facilities on this planet, which means that we'll need to ship uridium, gallicite, uranium eventually. They're going to use a lot, so just keep that in mind. So we're going to take you over to Colt. We're going to unload all minerals. And then we're going to go back to Ephes and do a refuel. We're going to have to start moving fuel around as well, which our tankers will do to ensure that we have enough fuel. So Ephes is going to be our main area for that for now. And we're just going to cycle those orders. So it's going to load minerals at Leforia and Dern, until it's full. And that should be good. I think we can get away with it, because the problem is they'll load at Euphoria and then wait, and then it will be full, and then it can't load at the other one. So we're going to go for load all minerals, and it's going to be inefficient, a little bit inefficient, but I think it's fine because we're at such short distances anyway. Unload all minerals at Colt, unload all minerals at FS refuel. There we go, cycle of moves, that sorted. So we pretty much got our first system sorted out here. Again, I'm not sure why I can't assign governor. Do we not have enough governors available? Administrators. We do have plenty of governors, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm just going to turn automated assignment on for all of these guys. Should hopefully get them sorted. Okay, next up, on Seranus B, we have Buckley. Main construction hub, financial centers. We want to start probably build some more automated mines. How much corundium do we have? We have 4,000 corundium. We're gonna have to get more corundium moved back. Tracker 1 has quite a bit of corundium we can move back. So I'm gonna order up automated mines. We can order. Let's get another 20. So that will be 4,800. Wow, we really can't build a lot of them, can we? That's not great. It's not great. Let's just get some more normal mines. Let's put in an order for 50 at 50%. Then let's get an order in for. Let's get one research facility on the way. We'll do one. And we'll have to move that off world. Or we could just start researching on Bulia, which might be a good idea, but it depends. So research facility, ordnance transfer station. Yeah, I mean, it kind of works. Let's do. Got no shipyards here. Deep space tracking stations, financial centers. Forced labor camps, fuel refineries, ground force training. I think that probably just increasing our capacity is going to be the best idea. So I'm going to order 50 construction factories as well. And that's pretty much you done. Seranus, we got 8 ground force construction complexes. I'm not going to design any new ground forces yet in this episode, but I am going to order up 1, 2, 3. I'm going to order up 2 infantry regiments. 1, 2, 3, 1. So 2 infantry regiments. We're going to order that up, and so that's going to cost us quite a pretty penny. That's going to cost us about 2,000 build points. So 2,000 Vanderite, which is half of our stockpile. Again, we're going to have to move resources to Seranus. We're going to have to move resources to Vulia. So we're going to have to move them specifically from Draga 1 to ensure that we can continue our construction. So really, you're fine. You're just getting fuel, though I want to get tankers moving that fuel to Seranus A, Seranus B, Seranus C, and all the other places, obviously. Othea has a research facility. We're going to just have you do some research into terraforming. I know it's not the most interesting of things, but there's not much you can do with one research facility. So I'm just gonna have you slowly put some research in there, train some people up. Draga 1, you've got all your stuff here, good. Another thing as well you might be wondering is I'm not using mass drivers. That's a rule that I've put in myself. I want to emphasize coordinating shipping, escorting, and basically preparing for 2.0 in that regard. So we have to use freighters for movement of ships, and in that regard, I think we should order up 2 Sherwell class freighters. So 1, 2. So yeah, 2 Sherwells. Those will be on the 27th of July. Again, we need to get some resources moved over here. Trapiscan. I don't think we could order another cruiser, But then we also need the ordnance. I think let's go back to coal. We also need to start production of... Yeah, let's start production of some missiles. I'm gonna start an initial production run of 96. Let's do 188 missiles, 100%. We want to start building a stockpile. These are size 8 missiles. They're okay. They're low tech, but they can do the job in numbers. Fighter factory. There's nothing we need out of the fighter factories for now, so that's fine. Trapiscan again. Let's order a single another cruiser. So we're gonna order it up. We're gonna call it after one of the planets. So I'm gonna name it after Thodalia, I think. So NSS or Naval Starship. Thodalia. Let's order that up. So that it's got some resources. Well, again, we're gonna need to move those in time because these will deplete. As you can see, the projected usage now coming out. We're gonna use 5,000 of those. Varm, nothing much here. Thodalia. Yeah, Thodalia, we have our mines, obviously. We're going to have to start getting this stuff moved off world. So I'll need to dedicate industry to do that. Dilmara has some research facilities, but also shipyards. I want to order a couple more destroyers, so that's what I'm going to do. 1, 2 destroyers. And then I'm going to look into our research. I want to go into specifically, if we could here. It's expensive. It's really expensive. Let's go for commercial magazines if we can, because we're going to need an ordnance ship to be built. And in that regard, we're going to have to get a commercial shipyard constructed and moved over. Because the thing is, right, it's like we can build a shipyard on coal, but it doesn't have the population to support that shipyard properly. So we're going to need to move larger shipyards off of coal or off of Vulia, because they don't have the population to support large shipyards because our population is so spread out, and that's part of the challenge. That's really what this series is about. So, yeah, Thodalia, you're fine. We can order 2 albatrosses. I think that's probably a good idea. We have the minerals. We have to wait a little bit for the stockpile to go up before we do that, though, because we don't have any stockpile, so we can't immediately start production. So we'll have to wait a little bit on that. We're also going to need a supply ship. So, yeah, I'm actually going to order up on Vulia some shipyards then. So let me get rid of the mines. Let me order up 2 commercial shipyards on Vulia. And those will take a wee bit of time. It's got the population to support some small shipyards, so that'll be okay. We can get some shipyards around Vulia. We can move them to Ephesus later on if we need to. But I think we'll be fine. Thodalia is doing okay. Dilmara, you're doing fine. And then we have Itara. So we kind of set up our industry, sort of everything there. Let me go through orders. We don't need to do anything military-wise. Colony ships. I want to start like building up some of these worlds. Like if we have a look over on here, where is it? Yeah, Itara. I want to start building up to get some more population in. So I want to get at least 10 million people. But yeah, that's going to require moving infrastructure. So we're going to have to wait for infrastructure to be produced over on Colt before we can move that. Instead, I'm going to more focus on trying. We need to make sure that we have fighters moving stuff from Thodalia. We have 2 fighters. So I'm going to detach one and we're going to rename that to the 2nd Mineral Transportation Group or Division. There we go. And their orders is you're just going to load all minerals until you're full on Thodalia. And yeah, you're going to load the minerals until you fall into Thodalia, and then we're going to move that back to Vulia, So unload on minerals, and then refuel. So that'll be a 45-day transit, 5 billion kilometers. We'll cycle those move orders. So we're basically moving resources from Bigdalia, which will be mined, and then we're transporting them over to Vulia, which is our main construction center. I do want to, however, set a reserve, because we don't want a situation where we have no resources. So I'm going to set a small reserve of 1,500 of all minerals, and then everything else can be moved off planet as required. This is just because we have shipyards here. We do have, we also maintenance facilities. We need to be able to construct on this planet accordingly. So 1,500 reserve on everything there. Delmara will also need resources. So I am going to also transport, because that's going to need some. It's going to need a bit of everything, isn't it? Iridium, magnesium, boronite, titanium, carbamide, neutronium, uranium. So basically everything but corundium, sorium, and verendorite we need to move. So if I grab this one, second player, Thalia, I'm going to rename you to the third mineral transport group. And we're going to have you load load all minerals, until full. Move those over to Dilmara. Unload all minerals. Refuel. We're gonna do this periodically though, so I'm gonna have it load all minerals until full. Order delay on, so let's do every year, because we're not constructing that often. I think that makes the most sense. So let me just go with 31. What would that be? 31 million seconds is a year's time. So 31 million. Load on minerals until full. Then, so that'll just mean sure that we're not having too many issues, because unlike Vulia, we don't need to transport minerals consistently. So Thodalia. And we're going to then transport those over to Dilmara, unload the minerals, then do a refuel. You can cycle those orders needed. So that's good. So we've got that sorted out. First mineral transport group, that's good as well. And then we have first tanker division. We want to, they're orbiting Sevulia. Sevulia is our main fuel hub. And where we get most of our fuel from. We'll wait a little bit on this because we need to generate fuel in Sevilla first, but we're gonna have them ship fuel out to all the other worlds. So Seranus A, Seranus C, Seranus D all need to have fuel shipped to them. Tropiscan, Thodalia, and Colt or Comedia. We need to get fuel moved over essentially. We do have some fuel, some maintenance supplies, but that's gonna take some time. We then have available to us 2 freighters. We don't have anything moving stuff from Dragaron, which is a problem. We also need to start moving stuff from Lephoria and Dern. Did I set that up? I think I did. Load the mills until full. Yeah, you're good. We did. So, do we have a transporter at Vulia? We do not. Ephes, though, we have one at Ephes, so we're going to have to move that then. So I'm going to rename you to the 4th mineral transport. We're not really going to be able to move installations around at this rate because we're having to just support everything. So we do want to start building as many freighters as we can get our hands on, and once we get civilians, it'll be a little bit easier for us. So you're going to go to Dragon. You're going to load all minerals. Yeah, load the minerals until full. You're then going to go to Vulia. And you're going to unload all minerals. We do need to move some to Colt, though. Those are already getting some minerals moved. So that's fine. load the mills until full. We'll move them to Vulia for the initial moving off point. And I'm going to need one to move to Estrunus for Verenderite as well. So let's unload our minerals here. And then we'll do a refuel at Savulia. Did I make a mistake? I think I did. Yeah, you guys don't have refueling capacity. That's a problem. Let me just sort that out. Well, a little bit of bugs we're finding as we're starting to play here. So I'm just going to add a refueling station. Okay, all sorted. So we'll do a refuel and we'll cycle those moves. So it'll go there, unload the minerals, and then we'll fuel from the moon of Vulia as needed. So load the minerals until full, unload the minerals on Vulia, and then sorted. Good. I'm gonna have the third freighter division. We're literally just changing them all into mineral transports. Third, fourth, fifth mineral transport division. I'm gonna have you. Particularly speaking, the main thing that I need you to do is go to Drago 1. If I have a look, because I'm forgetting where everything is. So Drago 1's here. Leforia is here. This has Verenderite, right? But it's not that much. Derm has no Verenderite. Drago 1 has a lot of Verenderite. So your point is you're going to go to Drago 1. You're going to load Verenderite, which we need to build ground forces. Yeah, that'll take you 15 days, but that's going to take you some time. So we want to wait, give it some time. So I'm going to set a reserve on Drago 1 for Verenderite. We're going to set 2,500 minimum. And I'm going to go Verenderite. We're going to load order delay of a year. Let's do 15. Yeah, 15. So that's a month. 6 months. Delay that. Then after that, you're going to head to Estrunus, our main military ground force construction hub. Unload all the minerals there, and then you're going to refuel at where the hell is that again? Thodalia, Estrunus. Estrunus is here. You can refuel at Savulia then. That works. Fuel. Cycle those orders. That works for us. And I think we've got most of everything that we need to set up here. The only thing that we need to do is now wait on exploration vessels and everything else. So make sure everything doesn't break. But yeah, we're nearly an hour into the episode, so I hope you guys have been enjoying. I think we'll end it here shortly. This has mainly just been a setup for the next going on. But it's a good introduction. Gets you into the thing. And something I actually forget to mention is there are asteroids. You may notice in the solar system view. So asteroid belt here, asteroid belt here, asteroid belt here. I want to see if we, and also an asteroid belt here. I want to see if we can make use of all mining modules if possible, but we'll see. But yeah, let's run a year at a time, and then we can end the episode off here. So let's do 5-day increments. Mineral transport was unable to load Euphoria. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit much. That's a little bit much. I forgot how fast the game is. Fuel shortage in production at Colt Missile Works. Oh, that is a problem. That is a problem indeed. Because Colt does need the fuel. Does need fuel, right? It has a spaceport. We can get that fuel moved over. That is not a problem. I'm going to have the SS Caribbean detach. Second tanker division. And we'll have it do a... Because missiles require fuel. Transfer fuel to Colony. Then go back to Savulia. Do a refuel. But we'll do this after a year. And then... yeah. Transfer fuel to Colony. Refuel on Colony. That works for me. We'll just... we'll do a cycle moves accordingly. That should be able to sort that out. Did we get any new mineral deposits detected? So Dahlia, Dragon, a bunch of asteroids with a bunch of different resources which we'll have a look into. But yeah, let's run a month if we can, or yeah, a year. Looks like we've got some civilians popping up, which is great to see. We're two junior. I've got some admin command issues here, so I'll need to get those sorted. Naval admin commands. We need captains now. So I need minimum rank captain, and let's get those assigned accordingly because they're apparently too junior to command. We need a good survey guy at least. Survey Captain Lisa Mkazi will go to the survey operations command, and let's just continue doing our 5 increments. We discovered some minerals on Trow, one of the moons. Trow, we also discovered, has 1.6 million tons of sodium. So if you don't remember, guys, that is the over here. Where is it? Oh god, I'm having an aneurysm. Brandus Van. It must be the outer one. No, it's not. I remember it is not. Itara, Dilmara. Yeah, there's Trow. And then Thaddali and Dilmara are moving accordingly. So that's really good to know. That means that we can start mining in the future sorium and then move that around Thaddali, Dilmara, and Itara relatively easily. So we're just going to do 5 increments. We found 720,000 uranium at accessibility 1. That's fantastic news. More asteroid being surveyed. But you can see here, as the orbit moves, like you can see the star moving, but also these are not moving in distance from each other. Even if they're moving around. We've got more civilian shipping lines coming online here, and they're starting to unload trade goods. A really cool thing about all of this is that the civilians will trade between all the planets, and that would be really cool. As you know, there's so many planets for them to trade and resources being produced. We also got some governors being assigned here. So we're now in July. We're about halfway through. How is our mineral situation looking? Mining, you're looking okay here. Colt should have had some resources moved over. Got some projected usages, which are pretty high. Leforia isn't being able to mine. Dern is mining, but we're moving those resources over. Vulia is doing okay. If we go to Thodali, though, we're getting a lot of resources. We might need to assign a second freighter here, because that is a lot. We're producing at 18,000 tons. But the stockpile... No, actually, we're doing okay, because the reserves are 1,500. And then we're moving those resources over to Vulia. So I think we're doing okay, actually. If we have a look at the Empire mining, we're doing okay. 2 showwells were built and assigned to the First Alliance Squadron. Let's order up another 2. And I also want to look at expanding those shipyards. We'll need to actually move over more resources to Ephes at some point. But I am going to begin expanding this yard with another slipway. But with that, we can also order up 2 more vessels. 2 more Sherwell classes, the Kale and the Helford. And then I'm going to go over to the shipyards. Those were assigned wrong. We'll have 2 of the Sherwells detach. And I'm going to have you guys. Yeah. We'll start moving some infrastructure, actually. Specifically to Itara. So we're going to call this the 1st Freighter Division. And let me have you start moving. And yeah, because of the fuel issues, we're going to have to start moving fuel around a little bit more in retrospect. We'll sort that out next episode. But no, let's have you start loading from Colt, loading infrastructure, and then taking that over to Itara, unload all installations, and then refueling over on Thodalia if we can here. And we'll have you cycle orders as much as we can. Looks like we have our first CMC be established on one of the asteroids. We've got, here's our mineral transports happening. And if we go over to Ephes, you can see freighter moving around here as well. We're in August, September. Infantry battalions trained on Istumus. We have 2 more vessels completed, and those are our freighter transport. I'm going to keep them into the reserve for now. Yeah. Oh, no, those were our tankers. Yeah, we don't really need to worry about them for now. We'll keep them in reserve. They're not a problem. Did we get the fuel situation sorted out for Colt? Yes, we did. It's got fuel now. That's fantastic news. And October, November, and December. And we just finished up a troop transport, and it's now January. That's where I'm going to leave the episode off. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode, and it's something new. What I will say just before we end the episode off, if you guys are interested in playing along, playing in this scenario, then you can head over to the description. There'll be a forum link to the Aurora forum where I upload videos on details on how to get the save, what you need to know, information, all that stuff. So everything will be handled from there. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys. I'm gonna leave you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. And special thanks to members King Strozer, Lewis Neto, Gravmania, Fisher, Alex Roberts, Cliff S, Death himself, Zaven, It's Honey, Ryan Smelly, Tiki832, Scott Mundy, and Impassive 9001.